Hello everybody, welcome to The Codes and you are listening Julie. Today's topic is mobile application development, the introduction. Before actually we get into this topic, I would like to tell something about myself as I have a decade long experience in mobile application development and had been associated with small to one of the world's biggest organization. So, thought to share my experience and knowledge to benefit all other audience and learners who actually want to know all about it. So, just give it a thought like why one would want to learn about it. You get the answer? So, just look around yourself. You will feel like the people around you or even you everybody's life is too much dependent on their mobile handsets. Why? Because there are so many applications out there on your device, on your handset, which makes your day-to-day life very easy. So that is why it is one of the most emerging technology. It is easy to use, easy to develop. I mean, you are just an idea behind to give a benefit to whole community. You just have to develop an application and that will be installed onto your device, onto your family, your friends, your loved ones, and then maybe a whole community. So this is one of the most interesting technology for which you do not have to go here and there. You are a very much few steps back into such an interesting domain. So let's get started. So when we talk about actually mobile application development, there are two major role players. One is iOS and another is Android. We must have heard about like iOS and Android. So I have a pretty much decent knowledge on both of the technologies. So probably I will get one by one on each of those. So let's get started with iOS. iOS development. So primarily when we talk about iOS development, it is about iPhone and iPad applications which are there installed on these devices. There are others as well like Apple Watch. So those can also be included in this. But primarily when we talk about iOS development, it is iPhone and iPad applications. So I want my audience who are actually listening to me so to get the very basic knowledge about iOS, then towards the maximum extent of coding. Instead of directly digging into coding, I want you to first understand what does actually iOS means. So in the basic term, iOS is an operating system which is created by Apple and that is being used in their devices, iPhones and iPad. So there are a few more things you can it is good to have knowledge about that, like iOS is being actually upgraded almost every year by Apple. So what that upgrade contains, it contains some additional capabilities, some extra features to make your device more compatible and more useful than before. So, such updates are usually announced by Apple in their WWDC program. What is WWDC program? It is a worldwide development conference conducted by Apple wherein they release the new features, the new upgrades to their existing devices as well as the new devices. So, right now the current iOS version which is running is 13.5. uh, Now let's move further towards the requirement. So now you get a basic idea like what is actually iOS mean. Now you want to move ahead with the development. So the next step could be requirement, what all you need to get started with. So the requirement can be divided into like hardware requirement and software requirement. So first we'll talk about hardware requirement. Is there any specific hardware required to get started with? So it is yes. So for actually starting development for iOS, you need a Mac machine, which is an Apple machine. So Apple has provided few categories. Based on your pocket budget, you can opt one. The first option is Mac Mini. So if you are low at pocket, then you can go for Mac Mini. Mac Mini is, as you can see in the picture, Mac Mini is a CPU, Apple CPU, which can be connected to any of the desktop screen, and then that will start functioning as a Apple machine. The next is MacBook laptop. So if you are okay with your budget and you have a requirement to move here and there with your system, then you can go for Apple laptop. And the third option is iMac. iMac is a desktop kind of machine. So if you are fixed at a place, then iMac is a good option because it has a very big screen. Obviously there are varied size in the screen size, but still the iMac machines are having big screens compared to the laptops. So the advantages of big screen is like you can design and develop very precisely your applications. So if you want to go for a particular designing accuracy, photoshopping and all, then iMac could be the best option for you. Now these are the hardware requirement, means you need a Mac machine to start development. There is no way, you have to get it. The next is software requirement. So now you are having your Apple machine ready. So what software you need to get started with? The software is named as Xcode. Xcode is actually an IDE which is used for the development purpose of iOS and Mac OS based applications. Like iOS means iPhone, iPad, Apple Watch applications, and Mac application, Mac OS based means the applications which are installed on the Mac machines. So those kind of applications can also be developed on the Xcode. IDE, what is IDE? IDE is an integrated development environment. Basically, it is a platform where you get all the basic uh, requirements to get started with the actual application development. So Xcode is the only software which you need. Now the next question is where to get Xcode. So I will show you how to get Xcode. So one point here is like if you are a new user, then first thing you need is to have an Apple ID. If you are already having a Apple ID, then that is okay, you do not need to go for this step. Otherwise you need to have an Apple ID. For that, just open your browser and go to apple.developer.apple.com. Here the site is open. Go to account creation. So on the account, if you are having an Apple ID already, you can put that here. Anyways, that is not required. If you are already having, you can skip this step. If you are not having, just go to a create yours now and it will open a web form. So the web form is opened here. So this form will ask you some basic details like your name, your country, your birthday, etc, etc. You just provide all these details and go to continue. Once you will continue, it will create your Apple account. One point here is like you can have your any of your email account as an Apple ID. Like you do not have to create any specific @apple.com kind of ID. You can make any of your email ID like Gmail, Rediffmail, Yahoo Mail, any of those email ID can be made as your Apple ID. So once you are done with this form, your Apple ID will be created, and then that can be used for the sign in purpose. Once your ID is created, you can check that here for sign in purpose. So your Apple account will be created. Once your Apple account is created, then you go to your Mac machine and open the App Store. What is App Store? App Store is actually a market where you can get any of the software for your Mac machine. It is the similar like we have on our phone, like Google Play Store or App Store on iPhones. So it is a similar application. Just open that and type Xcode and click on search. It will give you some results for the Xcode. So Xcode is actually already installed on my system, so it is giving me some update. I'll update probably later on. So once your Xcode is also installed on your machine, then you can type Xcode on the search of your system, and it will open the Xcode for you. So here Xcode is open, and I have 11.4 version Xcode. So once the Xcode is installed and you are opening Xcode, you will get three options. The first one is get started with Playground. The second is create new Xcode project, and third one is clone an existing project. So first one is get started with Playground. What is Playground? It is a new feature provided by Apple wherein you can get the instant result of any of your algorithm. You can, if you want to check any algorithm, calculate something, some logics, so you can directly put that logic here, code that logic here, and you will get the instant results. So that is a Playground. I will probably post a separate tutorial on Playground usage and the results in one of my next tutorials. Now the second is create a new Xcode project. So this is what about we are talking, like create a new Xcode project will give us an option to create an application for iPhone, iPad, Mac, Apple Watch or Apple TV. And the third one is clone an existing project, which says if you are having a already developed Xcode project somewhere at some repositories like Git or similar kind of other repositories, so you can directly clone that project from that repository to your local machine. So now we are on to creating a new Xcode project for iPhone or iPad. So I am clicking here, create a new Xcode project. Once you clicked on this, it will give you an option to choose a template for our new project. So it will first ask what kind of project you want to create: iOS, watchOS, tvOS, macOS, cross platform. So we are here to develop an iOS application, so we have chosen an iOS, and then further into that iOS it will give an option to choose the template type. Like if you are having your application design ready, then you can probably go for any of such options, and if it is not ready for now, there is no template, there is no design ready for us, it is just for tutorial purpose, so I'm going for single view application. I'm clicked on next. So here I will write the product name. Name is the name of your application which you are going to develop. So for now I will write here tutorial Xcode. Organization name. Organization name is the name which you can write to specify the name of your organization. You can write anything here for now. Basically these details will be used later on once you will be publishing your application to the App Store for the public usage. So for trial purpose, for learning purpose, you can write anything. These are not mandatory, I mean not as much required here. The next thing is language. So there are two language options, Swift and Objective C. So for the language part, I wanna tell you is like when actually the iOS development was started, then that time it was being written in Objective C language. And from last, to be accurate, like from last 4 years, Apple has introduced a new language which is called as Swift. Swift is, compared to Objective C, is more effective, more easy, and it has more language oriented benefits over Objective C. So now it is recommended to write a new project in Swift language. So we have chosen a language as a Swift. Rest we will mark as it is and click on next. So clicking on next, it will ask us to create the path for the project. So I will create a folder named project, and I've created here. So here in this folder, it will create this tutorial Xcode project for me, which will be stored on my machine. So here Xcode is creating a project. Now the project is created. So once the project is created, there are some default classes and files are given to us. So now you see here, this is the project navigator. This section is project navigator, and here the project called tutorial Xcode is created. We click on drop down selection, and here it has given us some of the default files called app delegate, scene delegate, content view, etc. So probably I will give a separate tutorial on complete Xcode configuration and a sample project. So meanwhile, just you get your Mac machine ready, get your Apple ID ready, get Xcode installed on your machine, and if you like my video, then please click on like, share and subscribe. Yes, of course, if you have any questions or query, please do write that in the comment section. I will try to answer those. Till then, stay tuned, stay happy. Thank you.